This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Research Talks here from Stock Box with Alan Green and Dan Flynn. Well, we're in the last week of August, so we're heading into when people start to come back. I know the first couple of weeks of September do tend to be a little bit slow still, but we are definitely getting to that point where the nights draw in, people start to come back to their desks, and we start to see some more stimulating moves, let's say, in the stock market. But welcome both of you this morning. Have anyone seen anything significant this week that's worthy of note on the markets? I mean, one thing I did notice was Cycle AI ran up like quite a bit, and then they released an RNS saying it could be because we're in discussions with a deal, but the last line was something like at a significant discount, which I've never seen before in an RNS, and of course it came back down. So that's the only sort of big mover. Well, of course, Guardian as well, actually, hitting 90p, I think earlier in the week, doing very well. But anything else anyone's seen?
Well, it just feels like there's some much longed for optimism returning to the junior natural resources space, doesn't it? There's been Guardian, we've seen Critical Mineral Resources and FDR, who I'm covering today, advanced significantly. You've got Wishbone, Rockfire and Oriole, who had great weeks. As we're recording, GSCU's on the rise. And we often talk about how valuations don't reflect the potential of these companies, because of market conditions and a lack of sentiment. But if that continues to improve, then, as we head into that Q4 and things start to get people start to return to their desks and trading and news starts to fire up, there could be a lot of opportunities to make some money.
Indeed.
Nice. Thank you. I've just seen GSCU. I only interviewed Sam earlier this week. And yeah, you're right, that is moving. So I'm not saying that's due to what Sam said in our interview, but it's nice to see that moving, yeah. I didn't notice that, Dan.
Also some good news for ECL Minerals this week. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but there was an interview out with the technical director, Mike Parker. And of course, Mike Parker is former Quantum Minerals. He's, highly respected geologist. And he was talking about, of course, the progress at Blue Mountain and then the move to Lulworth and the excitement around Lulworth. But he also mentioned Creswick as well. He said, Creswick is an absolute monster. It's a sleeping giant in many ways because they got all the LIDAR data now from Creswick, and there are so many potential drill targets there. So it was interesting to hear him eulogizing about something that has been associated as one of ECR's core projects for years, and yet he's looking at it with a fresh pair of eyes. So anyway, the share price is certainly pretty buoyant this week.
Yeah. Indeed, and also I think I may have mentioned Power Metals last week, and that's of course continued a little bit of a rise this week. I think we did mention them how much cash they've now got after liquidating pretty much all of their Guardian Metal shares. So they're obviously well cashed up as well. It'd be nice to see them deploy that cash with something. But yeah, okay, there's been a few movers then actually. So just when we think about it, there are a few movers and aren't there this week, which is nice. But of course, Dan, as you said, we are going to talk about FDR. First of all, I have just spoken to Tristan Pottas, who is on his way over to Australia in the next couple of days. So we'll just play a clip from that. He said he's pretty excited about that project.
We said post-admission that we wanted to deploy funds straight into the ground and commence exploration, and that's exactly what we're doing. And today's RNS obviously demonstrates that. We're very much of the opinion that you can only find something if you're prepared to go looking for it, and that's what we want to do. What we want to do, we want to give ourselves the best chance of making the discovery, rather than talking about doing the work. We want to actually let the drill rig do the talking itself. And as you say, I will be on site next week. I'm really excited to see the rig operating and hopefully, making its way down to what we hope is going to be a really exciting drill program. Simple as that, really.
So, Dan, over to you. What do you make of first development?
Yeah, so FDR's had a very strong week, and I think it's a combination of the company delivering exactly so far on what it said it was going to do, along with macro and regional factors falling very much in its favour. So I know you just played the clip, but just as a reminder, FDR is a spin out of Power Metal Resources focused on exploration projects in Western Australia and Australia's Northern Territory. And the company's IPO had long been in the works, and it finally began trading on AIM at the end of last month at 6.67p a share. Now, FDR's goal from the get-go was to begin drilling at its flagship Walal project as quickly as possible. So Walal covers 572 square kilometres in the Paterson province of Australia, which, as many listeners will know, is one of the most active areas for discovery in Australia. It's home to success stories like the North Winnow project and Greatland Resources, Havieron and Telfer projects. Now, through desktop studying, along with ground surveying and reprocessing historic data, FDR has identified 3 really prospective geophysical bullseye target anomalies at Walal, with a very similar setting and magnetic signature to the bullseye anomaly that ultimately led to the discovery of Havieron, Greatland's project. So that's a highly encouraging comparison. And prior to listing, FDR ensured it got all the permits and approvals and site clearance complete, so that when it completed its 2.3 million IPO raise, it was ready to deploy the funds into phase 1 drilling, focused on testing one anomaly in particular, which is called the Eastern Anomaly, as soon as possible, with one hole targeting the basement rocks believed to be responsible for the anomaly. And that's exactly what it's done. Days after listing, FDR announced a drilling contractor had been appointed. In mid-August, the company announced that all the necessary infrastructure for drilling, like platform and site access, had been prepared. And this week, today, it's revealed that its drilling partner has established an accommodation camp and support infrastructure to facilitate drilling, and that the drill rig has arrived on site. There's a picture in that RNS. So the drill bit's ready to get turning, and CEO Tristan, who you interviewed, is travelling to Walal to oversee operational activities and assist with follow-up logging and core preparation on site. Now, as this has been taking place, it just so happens that Western Australia has been enjoying an influx of exploration success as well. Not only has Wishbone hit a breccia pipe at its Red Setter project, which is also in the Paterson province, which has sent its shares soaring, but geo-exploration, which is being led by Callum Baxter, formerly of Greatland Gold, has shot up on excitement around the upcoming drilling of its Juno project in Western Australia, so the same region. So I think a combination of FDR delivering steadily on what it said it would do, and excitement about the gold discoveries being made in the region around Walal, along with a generally strong backdrop for gold, it's really got a buzz going for FDR and its upcoming drilling. And in response, its share price has advanced from IPO price 6.7p to 8.4p as at the time of recording, having fallen off from nearly 10p earlier in the week. So you have to ask what's next from here. And I think the reality is, obviously, it depends a lot on the drill results. FDR could well continue to rise more into drilling as more people try and position themselves in the company before the results come back. But the company's share price beyond that will be led by what the rocks tell us. If the core comes back and demonstrates physical evidence of that Havieron-style potential that the data and surveying has so far been pointed to, then this stock could absolutely fly. If it doesn't, obviously, then that's a bit more uncertain. But it is worth pointing out that this isn't, an all eggs in one basket sort of play. Beside the fact that Walal covers a huge area and there are multiple targets, meaning there's, more than one bite of the cherry for exploration beyond this phase 1 drill campaign. Company also has several other assets in its portfolio. It's got Ripon Hills and Braeside West, which are also based in Western Australia and are prospective for base metal and gold mineralization. They're adjacent to a big recent discovery by Rumble Resources. But it also has the Celta project, which is located in the prospective and kind of underexplored Aileron province of the Northern Territory in Australia. So Celta is fewer than 100 kilometres away from the Nolan's deposit, which is a world-class project containing a JORC resource of 56 million tonnes at an average grade of 2.6% total rare earth oxides. And FDR has identified potential for multiple target minerals at Celta, which include, but they're not limited to, rare earths similar to Nolan's, as well as LCT, pegmatites, lode gold, and iron oxide copper gold, and iron sulfide copper gold. So far, 9 target areas have been identified and ranked for prospectivity. And alongside the work at Wallow, FDR is planning first-pass exploration to increase its understanding of these targets in the near term for future follow-up. So that's another massive opportunity in the company's portfolio. I think obviously all eyes are on Wallow and the drilling there right now. FDR hasn't given a guideline on when we can expect results, which I think is fair considering the reality is that drilling is rarely so straightforward that an accurate timeframe could be quoted in advance. But it does seem likely we'll know more about that Eastern anomaly over the coming months in Q4. So, yeah, a very exciting period ahead. And I think if you're willing to take on a bit of risk, it could be worth positioning ahead of drilling on the basis that FDR's work so far is correct, and Wallow turns out to be the Paterson's next massive success story.
Well, yes, and as you mentioned, of course, and as I mentioned at the start, Tristan is going out, so that is starting imminently. I'm sure we'll be getting some interviews from site. He does say that there is Starlink available, so he did say he'd keep the market updated. I understand he might be actually camping in a bivy bag on site. To save cost and also just to, I guess, be totally part of everything that's going on. Like you say, he didn't give timelines on the interview as such, but I would suggest it's going to be anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, something like that. Depends how things go. You don't know what's going to happen in the field, but drilling into the that bullseye, and there's something there. So we just have to wait and see, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good luck to him camping out there. Hope he watches out for the spiders.
Well, yeah, spiders, snakes, other creepy crawlies. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting, and the thing is, all this is going on. That multi-layered, the multiple assets owned by the company, and the market cap is still just 6.7 million. So, actually, I think I'm looking at the wrong one there. It's 8.8 million. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, this is the time to be sort of looking at these ones, isn't it? And it's been a long time coming as well, as we've already talked about. So it's great to see them getting on the ground. So yeah, an exciting point for them.
Indeed.
Okay. So One Health Group, Alan?
One Health Group, yes. We spoke about One Health Group a little earlier in the year, and of course the company was at that point listed on Aquis, and moved to the AIM market, transferred to AIM on the 20th of March, and it's delivered a fairly steady performance since then up to mid-June, and things really started to explode into life. Just want to give a recap first of all on what the company is about. So, One Health Group provides medical services in the form of elective surgical care, and this is all about the NHS being overwhelmed, probably post-COVID, but indeed before that as much as anything else, and supporting the NHS in areas where the NHS facilities are basically less than adequate for the size of the population and the amount of demand. So the company was set up as far back as 2001, and the existing business was established in 2004 by Derek Bickerstaff, who's a practicing consultant surgeon. Derek still remains the chairman with the company, and he brought Adam Binns in as chief executive, and Adam Binns is still chief executive, so long-standing management there. And the idea is that really has been developed through government legislation regarding patient choice initiative. And One Health Group has the AQP status, which is any qualified provider status, to provide free high-quality NHS care specifically for patients referred for orthopedic, spine, oncology, gynecology, and a range of conditions. Based in Sheffield, they the company has 35 locations across the UK and well over 100 NHS surgeons and anaesthetists working with them. So if you have an issue with any of these conditions, then you can speak to your surgeon, go see your GP, and you can elect to be seen by this group. So rather than having to join the NHS waiting list, you can see the One Health Group network, and in many cases it'll speed up the surgery. It'll speed up and ensure that you can get treated, far sooner than you might do otherwise. So the company itself currently on the market is trading with a market capitalization of just on 34 million. Shares have been as high as 170p, as low as 170p on the year, as high as 274. Currently trading at 250, but had a really it came off that year low in June this year and has really started to bounce higher, and with good reason. The company raised 7 million when it moved to AIM 7.8 million, and the money that the company's raised is being reinvested into developing the network of hubs that the company is planning to set up around the UK. So we've had the company announced in June a set of full year results to the 31st of March. So this is covering the period it was listed on Aquis. Turnover jumped by 23% to 28.4 million. Underlying EBITDA was up 33% to just over 2 million. Underlying earnings per share up 185% to 13.75. And the company ended up with year-end cash of 11.4 million, 4.7 million the previous year. Obviously, a lot of that cash was due to the raise and the listing on AIM. The company also pays a dividend too. So as well as being a good investment, it pays a dividend. The final dividend paid was 4.13p. And Adam Binns and the team said they were seeing strong momentum across the business, new records on all operational KPIs, a 28% increase in new patient referrals, consultations were up 25%, and current trading, i.e. current year trading as of June, was strong, and the company's seen continued growth. So real momentum there. And then a few weeks ago, the company announced that the planning for its Scunthorpe Surgical Hub had been granted. Construction is now underway. The plans are to open this new hub in late summer 2026. And the ambition of the company is to develop a network of surgical hubs, and that's the key to its longer term accelerated growth plan. So the company is well funded, has the money to build and open this hub, and then from then on, with the cash and the profits it's generating, that's getting plowed straight back into further development. So it's a really good business model. It's fulfilling a niche market in a sense, but I mean one sense is that it could broaden out further into the private sector as well. So that all sorts of opportunities available for the company. I think, given the fact it's paying a dividend already, it offers a really strong investment proposition at this point in time.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Alan, for bringing us up to speed on that. It seems that definitely that's the way things are going, doesn't it, for healthcare in the UK anyway?
It does, yeah. I mean, we've, obviously COVID exacerbated that to a point, but I think, we've long been aware of the huge delays with the NHS, and obviously if you go privately, then it's not an issue. But to have this sort of quality healthcare as an alternative, and all you need to do if you have a problem in one of these areas is to speak to your GP and ask to get referred to the organisation, and you'll get referred. So yeah, it's good.
Good. Okay, well, thank you for that. So, Dan, you want to talk to us about Critical Mineral Resources, who have just announced that the name and the location. Now they've finalised all the paperwork there. It was a little bit secretive, I think, before they could actually say that. But I did catch up with them on site when they were doing some preparation work for the drilling campaign. It's sort of a new one on our radar, but I sort of like what I'm seeing so far. I like the team that they've assembled, the way they talk about the project. I know you've covered them a little bit, but tell us your take on it.
Yeah, so we've highlighted critical mineral resources as potential buy on here before, and like you say, you've interviewed Charlie Long, the CEO, a few times, Mark. So until this week, the story was always that the company had entered into a JV agreement over this big sedimentary copper project in Morocco. But the market hadn't really taken too much notice because a lot of the details were yet to be released. So like you say, this week, the company released the full details of the project, which is named Agadir Melul. I'm sorry to anyone listening for the pronunciation there. But the market has responded very well, with the stock having advanced from less than 2p at the beginning of the month to more than 3.7p as at the time of recording. So I thought we could take a look at what's got the market so excited, because there's a lot of impressive information in Wednesday's release. So CEO Charlie himself said in his quote in the RNS, Agadir is an awesome asset. It's a geological analog of the 130 million ton Tizza copper project, which is located just 55 kilometers away. All the necessary infrastructure is in place, like access roads, power, etc. Landscape's very flat, which is perfect for drilling. And following the recent addition of a number of new permits, it now covers a dominant position in the district in which it's based. Most importantly, though, work by CMRS, its JV partner, I should say, Copernicus Mining, has already demonstrated huge potential for low-cost copper-silver production at the asset. So just to reel off some highlights, surface and near-surface mineralization have been trenched and modelled over a strike length of at least 1.5 kilometers by a leading Moroccan resource geologist. And results include grades of up to 27 meters at 2.9% copper and 25 grams a ton silver, as well as 12 meters at 1.9% copper and 61 grams a ton silver. First phase metallurgical test work results include 80% copper and 61% silver recoveries. And the long and short of it is CMRS and Copernicus are confident that this initial discovery, which is calling Zone 1, underpins an initial exploration target of 150,000 to 200,000 tons of contained copper at 1.2% copper equivalent grade, along with a development plan for an initial 750 to 1,000 ton per day open pit mine using a flotation plant for production. So the initial mine at Zone 1 is the near-term de-risking target, but the real upside here comes in the longer-term potential. As Charlie said to you before, Mark, he believes Agadir could be the biggest copper discovery on the London market since, I can't remember the exact year, but it was before 2010. And at the heart of this is what the company is calling its strategic resource strategy. So within this enlarged project area, sampling has demonstrated a total of 12 kilometers of outcropping strike length, of which an estimated 75% is showing copper and silver mineralization. So that widespread mineralization is typical of sediment-hosted copper systems, and CMRS expects the strike to increase both in length and out laterally as it completes further acquisitions of land packages and explore. So along with advancing that initial Zone 1 discovery towards production, the company and its JV partner will also be completing exploration and development work with the goal of delivering a much, much larger copper-silver resource in that, much wider land package. So really what CMRS has created here is a two-tier opportunity. It hasn't, just bought a greenfield exploration project in Morocco. It's earning up to 60% in an asset which contains a copper-silver discovery primed for resource definition and development into a significant mine, as well as offering district-scale exploration potential with proven strike and geological similarities to the massive nearby Tizza project. So on that basis, I can see why the market has responded so well to the announcement. especially with the company raising 2.5 million in March, meaning it probably has money in place to complete a lot of initial work at the project. Though that's not to say the company won't need to raise more funds in the future if the pace of work really starts to build. So I guess the question here is, now the company has somewhat re-rated, can it rise much further? And I think it can. It still has a market cap of around £5 million. And if it's able to advance that initial mine towards production, as well as demonstrate larger mineral potential, then that number surely has to go higher over time. And the good news is we won't have to wait long to start getting results, because in its RNS, CMRS said over 50 drill pads have been prepared, and diamond core drilling will begin very shortly, with assay results to be almost continuous as that drilling continues. I'm not sure exactly what this drilling is targeting. It might be good to get some more details on that when you next speak to Charlie, Mark. But it was referred to as confirmatory drilling, so I'm guessing it will be centered on the Zone 1 resource in this instance, rather than that larger project, although I don't know that for certain. So regardless, CMRS has made a point of committing to maintaining news flow from the project. And with momentum beginning to be established and the market starting to pay attention, strong results and progress could see this one rise considerably higher. I think it really is still a ground floor opportunity in a way.
Well, thank you, Dan, for your take. I'll definitely ask Charlie that question next time we speak, but shouldn't be too long away. We were hoping to get a comment from him. Just regards, the fact that they've now been able to announce that they've got the name and where the location is, etc., and they can really start to crack on and push on. But they keep making this comparison, don't they, to Tizert, which is obviously a huge project deposit. So again, geology knows no boundaries. So if that mineralization and that geological structure continues onto their ground, then what he says, which is quite bullish actually, isn't it?
It's very bullish in all of your interviews, which is always good to see.
It's good to see. You have to be, and I think you have to be careful in the mining industry not to be too bullish. But he's obviously feeling very confident about this project. So. I mean, if work's getting underway pretty much immediately, then we'll start to see, won't we, some things happening and start to get a feel for what really is there.
Yeah.
So I like the look of it. Alan, have you come across them before, or a new one for you?
I think Dan spoke about them a month and a half ago, and I did take a look at them, and just the sheer scale of the copper project there is exciting. And if they've got if everything falls into place, then it could be an absolute humdinger. But it's early days, but as you say, you've always got to be careful. And kind of read between the lines sometimes, but certainly, the asset looks very exciting indeed.
Yeah, good. Okay, well, you're going to finish us off, Alan, with Mosman Oil and Gas, who we have spoken about fairly recently, but I guess there's been some things to catch up on.
Yes, there was an announcement this week from the company. It was an update on the helium projects in the US. The company currently is trading at 0.28 of a p. It's traded as high as 0.76 of p and as low as 0.18, so just off its year low. Market cap of 6.7 million currently. Now the company pivoted earlier in the year. It pivoted really from its Australian assets to US assets. Has always had a focus on helium, which of course is the certainly very much the gas of the moment if you're an explorer. And so the company is focusing on low risk locations close to proven helium wells, and currently has a pretty low market cap, as I say, 6.7 million versus its peer group. Had two Australian assets for many years. EP145, which was sold to AX-listed Echelon with funding, a company which had funding for drilling. Mosman retains a 5% royalty in that asset, so any developments and sales, of course, Mosman directly benefits from. And also EPA 155, where it sold its 100% working interest in that asset to Georgian Energy, GX. Mosman retains a 2.5% royalty there. So obviously any any latent news will feed into Mosman's valuation. But the focus for the company now is on its US assets, where it has a 20% interest in the Vector project, and in southwest and southeast Colorado, where the focus is, it has two key projects: the Sagebrush project, where it has an 82.5% interest as operator, and the Coyote Wash project, where it has a 100% interest. The management of the company also changed in that recent pivot. Howard McLaughlin is the interim chief executive. He's a US-based geologist with many years' experience in the industry. Worked for BHP, and that's predominantly in the US, both in exploration and production. So he's very familiar with the territory. Chairman is Carl Dumbrell, 20 years, and in the industry and also in accounting and tax, and is also a director at Ember Energy. And also, of course, Andrew Scott is a non-exec as well at the company. So early this year, the company engaged Sproul, who are a global energy consulting company that provide technical and commercial services for reservoir characterization, research, and also certification of reserves. Sproul have been engaged by Mosman to undertake a review of geological and engineering data from the Sagebrush well. Now, Sagebrush is an asset which has a producing oil well, and as well as being funded through placings and fundraisings over the years, the company also generates cash from its oil production at Sagebrush. In August last week, the company announced a production update from January to June 2025. That's the first half. 6,268 barrels were produced per day, and that resulted in revenues to the company of $357,000 and net post-tax $230,000 to the company. So what this does, of course, provides material revenues that assist in supporting the group's wider activities. And the well that's been drilled at Sagebrush is a hugely valuable well. It's been estimated by the team to be worth some $4.5 million, and really $4.5 million, and really provides a cornerstone to Mosman's valuation. And by any sense, is a world-class project, and is way ahead in terms of infrastructure and the scale of the asset compared to other operators into the area. Now, there's a formation below the ground called the Leadville Formation, and this well taps directly into that. So the company provided, as I said at the start, an update this week. It confirmed that the 3D seismic contractor selection process was nearly complete, and the seismic contractor would be in the field early October, so that's about 6 weeks away. And obviously, results will follow from then onwards. The independent verifications by Sproul, the global energy consulting company, is progressing. The company are undertaking currently economic and reservoir modelling works, which will be completed shortly. And as regards the Coyote Wash project, permitting continues to advance, and also the company has undertaken preliminary design work for the surface facilities, and the review of that design work revealed no major technical barriers. So still very much a work in progress, but as I say, the key points for Mosman really, the cornerstone valuation is the well that taps into that Leadville Formation, worth $4.5 million as an asset in its own right. So you then add the other assets on top of that, and I think once the team start to progress and we get that the results back from Sproul as to the scale of the asset and the size of the reservoir, then I think we'll really start clicking on gas, if you'll excuse the pun.
Pun away, Alan.
That's a good one.
Pun away. Yeah, exactly. No, I remember you talked about Mosman. So yeah, nice to see they've got some more developments happening there. The gas, the oil, who knows what's going to happen with oil. It's sort of steady around 63 at the minute, 63, 65. I keep an eye on it every day. I think Trump wants it low, but geopolitical tensions could drive it higher. So I don't know. Who knows? But nice to get an idea of a potential oil play there.
But I think also it's just the fact that they had that sagebrush well, the sagebrush well producing oil all the time. So everything they do, they've got that cash coming in all the time from the oil sales, which is key.
Yeah.
As you say, the price could fluctuate, but nonetheless, cash is being generated, and very few explorers can claim that.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you all. So next week we will be into September. So we'll see what that first week brings, if anything interesting. But for now, thank you for your time and have a good weekend, everyone.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Mark. Have a great weekend.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.